Hallo Freunde, willkommen zurück zu Let's Play Let's Read Katawa Shoujo. Ja, unser guter Freund Hisao hat im letzten Part die Nacht nicht so gut verbracht und wird jetzt von ihm wieder hier über die Runden gescheucht. Also, beziehungsweise über, ja, um den Platz gescheucht, sagen wir es mal so. Schauen wir mal, ob er das noch lange durchhält. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I think I might hurl. Somehow we're on the second lap. Amy's not even sweating. How can she do this so effortlessly? For some reason I'm still moving. She's like a machine. Third lap. What happened to the second? Almost there, Hisao. Liar, we've got another 2. Nothing to be done. I can't do this. Amy whirls around and begins running backwards. Her face is a mask of anger that surprises me. Never say that. If you say that, you have already lost. Keep moving. If you're alive, you can keep moving, damn it. Oh, language. We're on the 4th lap now. Oh. Schlimmer als jeder Sporttrainer, die Gute. Meine Güte. She really seems to want me to keep going. Legs move, move, move. They feel so sluggish. I'm in mud, or molasses, or tar. I can't go on. I'll go on. Final stretch, Hisao. Give it all you've got. I pump my legs as fast as I'll go. They keep refusing to obey my commands. Somehow I keep moving. Somehow I finish. That's it, Hisao. I knew you had it in you. The anger Amy showed a lap ago is gone, replaced with pride. She's positively radiant, like she just won the gold medal or something. I stagger to a stop and fall to my hands and knees, gasping for air. My heart is pounding far harder than it has in a long time. Ja, das war sowas von klar. I don't think this is done. I don't think it's done since... Oh God. Please slow down, heart. Just slow down. Stop racing. I cough and for some reason feel a grin crossing my face. So this is how I die, huh? Trying to stay healthy? How ironic. I'm all ready to give up right there. But then I feel my heart slow down. 2 hands grab under my arms and tug upwards. I look up and see Amy standing over me with a mixture of delight and worry. On your feet. Come on, you never catch your breath that way. Somehow I manage to stand. I try to raise my arms above my head, but they feel like lead. I start to walk around the track, while Amy keeps close to me, like she's afraid I'll fall over or something. She may not be far off. I feel terrible and say so. Amy laughs. But you finished, didn't you? You said you couldn't, but you did. Isn't that worth it? I'm not sure, and I don't really have the breath to say so. But that small grin I felt on my face earlier hasn't left. So, what if my heart's weak? I still survived this morning. Maybe I'll survive tomorrow too. As soon as it becomes apparent that I'm not going to suddenly keel over, Amy takes off on her sprints. I don't know how the hell she can manage to sprint after running a mile, but I guess she's in much better shape than me. Once again, as I walk around the track, I can't help watching Amy sprint. It's weird, but she's like a different person when she's pushing herself. Last time I noticed her eyes, but this time it's her mouth that catches my attention. She's not wearing her normal grin. She's still smiling, but there's a tightness to it. It's almost grim, like she's fighting a losing battle but doesn't care. She seems to be running harder like she did yesterday. Sweat has started to pour down her face, but she keeps going. Her mouth finally opens as she can no longer get enough air through her nose. As she passes me once more, legs pumping, arms swinging in time, and her lips slightly parted, she looks beautiful. After we've both taken some laps around the track to cool down, Amy changes back to her usual self. The transformation I saw in her is gone. "Not bad today, Hisao." There's almost admiration in her voice. "What do you mean? I should have stopped if you hadn't yelled at me. I would have stopped if you hadn't yelled at me." Amy colors a little, seemingly embarrassed about her outburst. Sorry about that. I just can't stand to see people give up. Especially about something like this. Saying I can't go on is silly when you're obviously going on while you're saying it. Ist nicht ganz unrichtig, ne? Was sie sagt. That's what it's all about. What? Saying silly things? Amy sticks her tongue out at me. Idiot, I mean showing that you're alive. Showing I am alive, I didn't know it had to be so painful. But it does feel pretty good, despite that. Besides, this is one of the hardest days. What do you mean? Whenever you start a workout, it's difficult the first day, really hard the second day, and then the third day is easier. You still get days that are really hard, but they'll pop up less and less. So this will eventually get really easy, huh? Yeah, of course. But then you have to increase the difficulty or you'll never get ahead. You just get complacent and you lose a sense of accomplishment. So I have to run more than just 4 laps, huh? Yep, but not for a while. You'll have to be careful, you know? A thought strikes Amy and her face lights up. Got it. Got what? You can come with me to see the nurse. That way you won't fall over dead or anything. How charming. When? Right now, of course. You need a shower and everything, right? We don't have much time then. Grabbing my hand, she's off, pulling me along with her. My goodness, but you're in a hurry today, aren't you, Amy? I have no idea how we got to the nurse office so fast, but here we are. The nurse grins at Amy and seems to completely ignore me. You've got plenty of time to take a shower and get to class, you know. There's no need to run through the hallway like that. I could hear you coming a mile away. Somehow it doesn't seem like he's actually scolding Amy at all. It's like this is a sort of routine between the two of them. Amy does a passable imitation of remorse. Ich muss aufpassen, glaube ich. Ich darf nicht mehr als 2 Parts am Stück aufnehmen, weil das ist dann doch ein bisschen schwieriger, in Englisch so viel zu brabbeln als in Deutsch, ne? I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again. The nurse and Amy both laugh at some private joke. Suddenly, it seems that he notices me. Ah, hello Hisao. What brings you here? Well, Hisao's officially joined me on my morning runs. I start to explain, but Amy cuts me off. I thought he might need to visit you so that he doesn't die or anything. The nurse raises his eyebrows in mock horror. Yeah, that would certainly put me out of a job fast, would it? Well then, Hisao, let's have a look at you. Lift up your shirt, would you? I'm suddenly very conscious of the fact that Amy's in the room with me and blush in spite of myself. The nurse seems to sense my discomfort, but it only seems to amuse him. A bit shy, are we? He makes an apologetic bow to Amy. Sorry, Amy, I tried to get you a free show, but it doesn't seem to have worked. Amy stiffens slightly and fires a look of annoyance at him. You're an asshole! Sorry, ich muss lachen. Amy bows to me apologetic. Der Hals mal knallhart raus durchs Arschloch. Ich krieg mich wieder ein. I'll wait outside, okay, so? I begin to stammer that it's not really a big deal, she doesn't have to leave. But she's already out the door and the nurse is laughing as he watches her go. Still got it, huh? I don't follow. He laughs again like he's on some joke that's over my head. I can still get her flustered. It's a competition of sorts we've had going on for a while now. That sounds incredibly sinister to me, and it seems as if the nurse realizes that too. That sounded a lot worse than it actually is, come to think of it. I wasn't going to say anything. No, you're right. I should fill you in so that you don't get the wrong idea. I'm actually relatively new here, you see. Ich glaube, ich muss den Part bald abbrechen. Ich komme nicht mehr hinterher. I got hired on the same year Amy started going here. Before that, I worked with Amy during her initial rehab following her accident. Hold on, what? We had to amputate her legs after a really nasty car wreck. It nearly killed her and succeeded. He shuts up abruptly. I blink at receiving this unexpected piece of news. Well, that's not my place to say anyway. We've known each other for quite a while. So we have a slightly more familiar relationship than it's strictly professional. Okay, verstehe also. Ja, ich muss das manchmal auch für mich noch mal ein bisschen zusammenfassen. Für euch natürlich klar auch, aber für mich, weil ich habe ja gesagt, eigentlich fasse ich nicht mehr zusammen, aber die kennen sich also schon quasi seit kurz nach ihrem Unfall. Ja, mussten sie ihr die Beine amputieren, ist nicht so schön, ja. Haben also eine mehr familiäre Beziehung zueinander, okay, ja. He seems embarrassed, like he's done something stupid. I guess he's really worried about that. I wave a hand to let him know it's not a big deal. Don't worry, sir, I promise I'm going to be discreet. I had been wondering about what caused Amy to lose her legs, and that was one of the scenarios I thought of. There were only so many ways it could have happened, but actually hearing about the facts, it's still a little shocking. Well, thanks. You're a good kid, Hisao. I can see why Amy became friends with you. She's quite indomitable, you know. What do you mean? You didn't see her learning to walk. She'd go for so much longer than the others in the hospital. She refused to quit. Normally it takes years to get to a point where you can even think about running again. Amy did it all in about a year. Respect. He almost seems proud of her, like a father who watches his daughter win a competition or something. Hell, she'd probably have done it faster if not for the fact that we wouldn't let her. Wouldn't let her? Why not? Because she'd go for so long that her legs would start bleeding where they met her prosthetics. Okay, das ist natürlich auch nicht so schön. It's a real concern. It's why she comes by every day after she runs. To say nothing of the risk of infection if her legs get cut up and her prosthetics are dirty. Ja, das sind natürlich alles Sachen, die man bedenken muss bei sowas, ne? But enough about that. If we don't get you on your way soon, Amy will think we are up to something. As he says this, he gives a wink and begins checking my heartbeat. The stethoscope is way too cold. He really should have heated it up or something before he used it. After a few moments, he leans back satisfied. Well, you sound pretty good to me, Hisao. You didn't have any chest pains while you were running, did you? No, not really. I had some trouble catching my breath though, and my heart was racing by the end too. The nurse frowns as I say this, but then shrugs. It's probably just because you're out of shape. But if you don't improve, then you should let me know, okay? Don't push yourself too much. And of course, if you have any chest pains, come to me immediately, right? I put my shirt back on and the nurse leans out of the doorway to call in Amy. What took you so long? Now I'm going to be late. The nurse gives me a significant look. I was just seducing Hisao, that's all. What? Come on, what have I told you about seducing my friends? I'd expected Amy to be shocked by this, but instead she seems merely annoyed, scolding the nurse as if he were a child stealing cookies. Meanwhile, I try hard not to blush at the nurse innuendo. Entschuldigung. I try not to do it again though. I fear young Hisao may be lost to the female gender forever. Not freaking likely. Das ist ein Witzbold, der Typ, wirklich. Okay. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but both the nurse and Amy regard me for a moment before bursting into laughter again. Told you he was funny, didn't I? I guess Amy does talk to the nurse about a lot of stuff. Well, Hisao, you should probably get moving. You still need a shower before class starts, don't you? Crap, he's got a point, and it looks like I've only got a half hour. Thanks for your time. I'll see you later, Amy. I dash out of the room as the nurse begins to remove Amy's prosthetics. As I head down the hallway, I can just barely hear his voice drifting after me. Amy, you've got to be more careful. I make it back to my room and shower in record time. It occurs to me that I've already been up for 4 hours and class hasn't even started yet. This is going to be a really, really long day. I hope I don't fall asleep in class. Das könnte gut passieren. The morning sunlight streaming through my window wakes me up instead of my alarm, and I realize that it must be Sunday. Amy has kindly deigned to give me weekends off from our morning runs. I don't actually know if I woke up at all yesterday or if I just slept through the entire day. My legs groan in protest as I lever myself out of bed. All this running has really taken it out of me. Still, I can't deny that Amy wasn't lying to me. It has gotten a little easier. I've been worried that the runs would start to wear on my nerves, but thus far I haven't minded them that much. Man kann sich an alles gewöhnen, ne? Well, it's only been a week. I suppose there's plenty of time for me to start dreading the sound of my alarm in the morning. Not that I could ever skip out now. As Amy said, it's harder to stop a routine when there's another person. And frankly, I don't think I'm equipped to deal with a disappointed Amy. She'd probably give me those puppy dog eyes and I'd feel terrible about myself. Which reminds me, wasn't I supposed to be somewhere today? Hey, you're coming to my track meet on Sunday, right? What am I talking about? Of course you are. Right? Those puppy dog eyes again. Of course I'm going. I owe you, right? Exactly, so don't forget, okay? Ja, das hat er wohl vergessen. Crap, Amy's track meet. I better get a move on it if I don't want to miss her running, since she's the only reason I'm even considering going. Otherwise I would defeat the whole purpose of going. And so I soon find myself quite suddenly surrounded by a crowd of people, all turning out to see our track team compete with another school like this one. Ah, okay, alles klar, also dieses ein Wettkampf zwischen zwei Leichtathletik-Teams, verstehe. I'll admit it, it's almost comforting to know we are not the only school like this. Also gegen eine andere ähnliche Schule. After you see that there can be two schools with a bunch of defective kids, well, you stop feeling so defective. You also stop feeling unique, which in most cases would be a bad thing, but in this case it sure as hell isn't. That's part of your Marcus appeal, I guess. Learn that you're not unique. Hell, learn that there's a lot of others who would kill to be settled with your problem instead of whatever they are dealing with. Some of the kids here aren't here because they are missing a leg or they have a heart condition. Some of them might be here because they are as good as dead in 2, maybe 3 years if they are lucky. And that's only if they get the right sort of care. It's a bitter sort of comfort to be able to say, well, at least I've got a chance of being alive through college, but there it is. I'm brought out of my rather morbid musings by the appearance of Rin near the entrance to the bleachers. You came? Of course, I said I would, wouldn't I? Didn't I? That doesn't necessarily imply that you had to follow through. Lots of people say things and don't mean them. Well, I don't. Rin shrugs, seemingly bored with our conversation. She turns on her heel and heads back towards the stands. I owe Amy money now. Why is that? I didn't think you'd show up. Amy did. So I owe her 500 yen. You two bet an awful lot, don't you? Na, erinnert mich daran, dass ich auch mit einem Freund öfter wette, aber naja, der gewinnt auch meistens. Another shrug from my armless companion. I don't think so. We enter the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there. I came out to see if you'd come. For the bet, I presume. Rin leads the way and soon we've settled down on an almost empty bench. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin, someone's mother, I assume. She's got rather long hair, done up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives her an oddly familiar-seeming grin. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack, not a boy. Huh? A snack? I wondered why I was down there. The woman laughs again in a way that seems familiar. Where have I seen her before? Well, I suppose you've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Maiko Ibarazaki, Amy's mother. Pleased to meet you. Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older and better endowed Amy. Apart from her hair being a darker shade than Amy's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance. Sorry, I'm Hisao Nakai. And really, you don't have to apologize for not introducing yourself, Mrs. Ibarazaki. That's really Rin's job in this situation, isn't it? Another laugh from Amy's mother. I take it you've not known Rin for that long, then. It's best not to expect her to remember something like that. She's got other things to think about, I assume? Rin nods, seeming pleased by this assessment. She's right. I was thinking about sunsets. You see, it's really up to us to make introductions and the like. For lack of any better response or not, Mrs. Ibarazaki leans back a little on her seat and raises an eyebrow. So, how long have you and Rin been dating? My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lunges into gear. But just before I can begin to utter a hastily babbled explanation, Amy's mother bursts into laughter again. You're a blusher, aren't you? I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response. Maybe. So, this must be a new romance then, mustn't it? Wait, that's not the question that... Another laugh. I know, but it's funny to watch you squirm. I'm sorry, forgive an old woman her amusements. Old woman? She sure doesn't look that old to me. Clearly Amy gets her useful features from her mother. I suppose I can't let it go. How kind of you. It's starting. I direct my attention to the track where they are preparing for the first sprint. Ja, Leute. Ja, haben wir mal Amys Mutter kennengelernt, aber die Ähnlichkeit ist da auf jeden Fall. Immer diese Leute, die mit einem Witze reißen, ne? Aber wenn man sie versteht, wenn man die Leute kennt, dann hat man, sag ich mal, eine Chance darauf entsprechend zu reagieren. Hisao war allerdings jetzt ein bisschen überrascht. Ja, ob wir jetzt auch überrascht sind, wenn wir Amy rennen sehen. Ja, glaubt ihr, sie gewinnt? Ich persönlich, ich meine mich auch zu erinnern, aber ich denke mal, könnt ihr ja mal euch überlegen. Aber ja, gut, wer soll es sonst tun? Da sind noch ein paar andere. Aber gut, wir werden sehen beim nächsten Mal, wenn es wieder heißt Let's Play, Let's Read Katawa Shoujo. Und ihr müsst mal sagen, also klar, wenn ich mich mal so ein bisschen verhaspel, ich denke mal, das ist nachvollziehbar. Hoffe, es ist nicht zu schlimm für euch und ihr kommt noch einigermaßen mit. Ansonsten, wie gesagt, immer schön Rückmeldung geben, damit ich was verbessern kann. Ansonsten, bis zum nächsten Mal. Macht's gut, ciao, euer Dreambird.